just go ahead and continue working, get that wrapped up. The rest of us are going to start in our notes, 2.4. We're going to work on that. We're going to have a quiz over exponents if I want to get through the AP vocabulary type stuff. So we're going to look at our notes real quick. 2.4 is very short. We will continue it tomorrow. But go ahead and get out your notes. Turn to page 10. 2.4. Do not leave the room until you've got one of each of those. Papers up here. So on page 10 of your notes, 2.4, exponential function manipulation, we have all of the exponent rules. So that those of you that were working on that little review, if you were having trouble with that, review your rules. They're right here in the boxes. When you multiply like bases, you add the exponents. Those rules, the exponent rules that you learned over and over, they're in the box right there. Example 1 now, we're going to talk about the rules, but in terms of transformations. So, can anybody determine the horizontal transformation of f of x equals 4 to the x plus 2? What do you think's happening to that curve? Left 2. That's exactly right. When you add 2 to x, you back it up, right? So it moves 2 to the left. So whatever 4 to the x looks like, back up 2. What about g? Or another letter b. What about g of x? What's happening to that one? That's a dilation by a factor of 1/3. Very good, Charlie. By a factor of 1/3. What about h? That's a dilation by a factor of 2. And what about h? 1 to the right? Everybody okay with that? Now, example 2 asks you, and the vocabulary is a little confusing, but the problem itself is quite easy. Would you agree this has a horizontal translation? Yep. It is 2 to the x moved back 3, right? Now you're being asked to write an equivalent representation that has no horizontal translation, but instead a vertical dilation. And that is very easy if you know your properties. Using your properties kind of backwards, would you agree that that is the same as this? Yeah, because when I multiply like bases, I add the exponents. And we all know that 2 to the 3rd is 8. So now I've written 2 to the x with a vertical dilation. So this was the original horizontal translation. We rewrote it with a vertical dilation. All right, can you do B? Undo that exponent. That's a minus. So what does a minus mean? A divide, right? So this is 3 to the x over 3 to the 2nd. Because if I were simplifying this, I would subtract those exponents. Charlie?
You just put like 1/9.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. This is 3 to the x over 9.
Or could you do 1/9?
1/9 times 3 to the x. This is exactly the way you would want to write it, Justin. Not could you, but you should do. Yeah. So this is now a vertical dilation. by a factor of 1/9. All right, last one. This one already has a vertical dilation, but it also has a horizontal translation, and we gotta get rid of that. I got my 4. Now what's this? I'm gonna split this up. It's going to be what? 3 to the x times 3 squared. I can't tell. Are you following along here? So that's 9. So 36 times 3 to the x would be our final answer, because we are being asked to do a vertical dilation and no horizontal translation. So we have to get rid of this. Seems pretty easy. Example 3. Which of the following functions is equivalent to 9 to the 2x? What do you think? Example 3. A, B, C, D. Do any of those match 9 to the 2x? No? What do you think?
I'm gonna say D, but
He was gonna say D. I think he should say D. Do you think he should say D? Because this is the same as this, isn't it? Remember, when you raise a power to another power, don't we multiply our exponents? So taking that 2x apart and thinking of it as 2 steps, that would be 81 to the x. You are exactly right. All right, last one. Can you find one of these that is equivalent to 9 times 4 to the x? Well, you may have forgotten something. I don't know. I hope not. I want you to look at C for a second. I'm going to write it like that. Is that okay? X over 2, using Charlie's idea from a minute ago. That's 1/2 x. So I can make that 16 to the 1/2 to the x. And what does a 1/2 exponent mean? Square root. Square root. So x to the 1/2 means the square root of x. X to the 1/3 means the cube root of x, and so on. So wouldn't this guy right here become a 4? Is that what I was trying to match? Yeah. So the answer there is C. And my eyes zeroed in on that 1/2 because I had to get from 16 to a 4, so I needed to square root that. All right with everybody? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and assign the 2-4 homework. We're going to do a little more practice for sure. In addition to that, I want you to work on that exponent review, because tomorrow we want to get through that, because we're going to have a quiz over that soon. What?
it's not the one that
No, not all these sheets. No, these are extra things for you. And homework is your homework, you got your homework back there.
Right.
And then this. This is due tomorrow. Yeah, there's only 8 in it.
Okay. I got it.
Come on.
And then it's 2.4.
What's today? That would be Thursday. You think you need an extra day, I can make it Friday.
No, I'm good.
It's due Thursday. We're making sure that we have one of each of these papers. And honestly, if you can't get the exponent review done tomorrow, okay. I'd like you to, so we have a basis for conversation, and I don't wanna stress you out. Get as much of it done as you can. Some of you started it already.